1, 2, 3. Alright, what is up YouTube? PTR back with a combos video. So, previous video I did a deck profile of this Royal Paladin premium deck. A lot of people got a lot of, I won't say negative, but a lot of people were like, oh, these cards can't be used, can't do it this way, and I'm like, you can. And I got tired of explaining it to like 7, 8 different people. So I'm just like, you know what, let's do a video of some of the combos, and then we'll go from there. So, I have most of the deck just out here at the top, and then basically the triggers are left in the deck. And basically here's just 5 cards. Ideal opening hand. Not gonna get it every time, but, so we're gonna start off with, let's say we go first in this scenario. Let's say we ride Elaine over Barkle. And there's an Elaine from earlier, so yeah. Elaine is there. Don't need that one then. So Elaine is here. We then use Barkle's skill. Resting it lets us get Future Knight Lou. We then can use Elaine's skill, get your card, to draw a card. And we drew a trigger, not the biggest deal. In this situation, if you have, say, something like, if you got a few units, you can go ahead and, actually, I'm going to keep that one. Instead, I'm going to ditch the violinist just for the scenario. So, turn 1. If we want, we can call Barkle, Blaster Friend Barkle here. This turn or next turn, and I'll show you why. But let's say we not do that for now. Our opponent goes, let's say they deal us 1 damage. It's a heal. Doesn't really matter, but we stand, and then we draw. In this situation, we do not ride. We don't have to ride anything. If you see we don't have a grade 2, that's fine, because we start off with something like Barkle's skill. Resting it, and we call Floatle. Then we call Barkle. We can use Elaine's skill, discarding. Oh, hold on. We discard a card, and we get to draw. So, hold on, we're just gonna delete that, because that's gonna be getting in the way. We draw. We then can use Future Knight Lou's skill. Counter Blast, 2 soul, 2 soul, 2 soul. We then get to ride a Blaster Blade from our deck. And due to the ruling with Barkle, countercharge. So we basically get to our grade 2 ride for free. If we want, in this situation, we can then counterblast 1, soul blast 1, and then retire a unit in their front row. It's actually really, really good to do this, and I'll explain why. So let's say we counterblast 1, and we're going to soul blast or Floatle, and retire something in their front row. Is it up to, or is it choose 1? So this is actually good, because now we have 3 cards in our discard, or in our drop zone. 1 more and we'll be able to Legion on our next turn. And that's an easy guard right there. So let's say they attack, we guard, we take a damage. Why are we not damage checking? There we go. So let's say, oh, gotta draw a trigger. So let's say we, oh, that's why, because this is here. That's gonna be annoying. There we go. We draw. 10k power goes there. More than likely they're not gonna hit, so we're then gonna stand and draw for our turn. We then get to ride into the beautiful, we can go into Ezel, or in this situation you can do Alfred. If you have, say, an Alfred and Ezel, and let's say by chance instead of having Floatle, we had another Ezel in our hand, absolutely ride into Alfred. We can get a Force Marker, and of course, Force Marker we place on the Vanguard Circle in every situation. We now lose the Blaster name, so yeah, so we no longer have Barkle's ability going off, but he's already done everything he really needs to at this point. You don't really need to call any rare units. You can call Blaster Blade in this scenario. I personally would not, and then we'll just swing for a twin drive. So first check, crit, second check, draw. Now, this isn't going to happen every time, but then we draw for the turn. And then, of course, it'll be our opponent's turn. You know, let's take a damage or two. Guard. You don't need to worry about guarding, and I'll explain why, because now this is where the fun happens. Is on this turn we ride into a Zell, and we put 1, 2, 3, actually let's see, yeah, and then we'll put 4 back, and then we get to Legion into Kingdom Knights Alfred. Now yes, no, you don't get the force marker for legioning, but this force marker goes to both Alfred and Azelle, which is really good. We can now, this is where the fun happens. So you're getting plus 10 here, 10 here, and if you want to counterblast and call Blast Blade, you get an additional 10k. So 24 on its own plus an additional 30, that's 54 without the boost, but you can't actually boost it, unfortunately. But that's not what you're going to do. You're going to use Azelle's skill, which is going to be Soul Blast 1, Soul Blast, the trigger, so that's Soul Blast 2. We're then going to discard Azelle. We're going to search for a grade 2, a grade 1, and a grade 0. So the grade 2 we get is Tarna. The grade 1 we get is Leanne, or we can get even a little Sage Marin. Actually, in this situation, Marin. You can do Marin, so you'd be able to counterblast 1 because it's called at the same time. You can also go for Leanne and Rest to start to draw. Actually, in this situation, I'd probably go for that one. And then the grade 0. More than likely, we'll get one of these. We got our Floatal. Oh, there we go. So, what do we do now? We could counterblast 1 for Kingdom Knights Alfred and get a Blaster Blade. Well, actually, first of all, Tarna's skill, because it was called, and we have an Alfred Vanguard, we can ride into Alfred earlier from the deck, and we get another force marker. Oh, hold on. Gotta work on these tiles, so there we get another force marker. Then we can also use its skill, which is counterblasting 1. Actually, in this situation, I believe you'd have to resolve Marin first. So counterblast 1. We draw. Then we use Alfred Early's skill, which is counterblast 1. Search Call a Blaster Blade from the drop zone. It gets 10k, and we also get to draw an additional card. We then have more cards in hand, and in this situation, if you had another Tarna or a Australian Violinist, you can then use them. So let's say instead of this trigger here, we do another Tarna. We can call Tarna over Tarna. We're gonna have 2, and we get a ride. Let's say we can ride. We've got 2 more. Then 2 more Alfred. So we could go for another Alfred Kingdom Knights Alfred, or we can go for the kill card, which is Alfred Exiv, which is the biggest complaint I got about this deck. Everyone was telling me to take this out, but let me explain. Play it. I then Legion a second time in the same turn. So as you can see, you put those back. Actually, in this situation, I'd probably put this one back instead, because it actually is more useful. So we flip, on top, on top, on top, and then we get to Legion in with the new Blaster Blade. And if we want, we don't have the Counterblast anymore. Actually, I believe because it's placed in the same column and it is a Blaster Blade, we then get a counter charge. I believe that is the ruling. We can then, if we want to, Counterblast 1, Soul Blast 1, and then retire something else. Now, if you notice, we have 2 imaginary force markers. That means this gets 20k, and this gets 20k. So on its own, 21 plus 20 is 41, 61, with booster 68, and because I have 5 rear guards, plus critical. That was my first turn. Yeah, see? So that is the rush of the deck. You get your main Vanguard up to massive numbers, and then for every Tarna, it's an extra force marker. For every Violinist, an extra force marker. And basically, you just draw. You use cards like Lien and Marin and Alfred early to draw cards. Which is why I'm still working on the amount of Alfred earlies I'm gonna run. Do I run 3 King Rex Alfred and 2 Alfred earlies? Because really, you only need it for the Legion mate. And when you're running 4 in the deck that searches, it's not really necessary. But that is just one of the simple combos. I haven't even covered the Stride deck. It's pretty simple. Dance Slot, Quadruple Drive helps with cards. You give the Blaster Blade Twin Drive if you want to go for a rear guard support. Get Blaster Blade up to massive numbers that's restanding. You can also go for Aerial Divine Knight Ultimile. Funny enough, with Ultimile, you can use its skill to call a Tarna and then ride over Ultimile if you want an extra force marker. I don't recommend it because you do end up losing a drive check in 5k unless you go into something like King Knight's Alfred, which gets the 10k from it. Squire Dragon just to counter the Link Joker because you're going to need as many rear guards as possible. And then Ultima because stacking those triggers is crazy. So that is some of the combos. Of course, there's many others you can do. That's the big one. Let me know what you guys think down below. And this has been PTR signing off.